All right, we are back for another Friday financial wrap up with Mr. Michael Zuber. How are you, Michael?
I am doing wonderful, man. I look forward to these so much. These are awesome.
I do too. It's a great way to end the week. It's a great way to kind of look back and say, okay, where are we? Where are we going? This is for August the 25th, 2023. Michael and I were both like, oh my God, August, we're almost
It's
at the end of
almost
August.
over. Yeah,
Yeah, right. So
crazy.
next week's show will be a September show. So it's
Yeah.
wild that this is the end of August, basically. So let's get right into it. Interest rates, mortgage rates, we talk about it all the time. It's a hot topic. What's going on? What did you see this week?
Yeah. So interest rates this week, I think it was on Wednesday, hit a high not seen since 2005, I believe. So we are at high prices and high interest rates. There's a lot of thought about will the Fed go higher. Investors today are seeing 8% mortgage rate quotes. So we couldn't be doing a real estate show if we didn't just acknowledge where we are. I
Yep.
do think there is a silver lining if you bother to look for it, but without question, we have high rates, high prices, no inventory, and lending is getting harder and harder and harder. This is the first time I've seen all four of those occur at the same time. So it's an interesting place to be, and if you don't have your mindset right, it could really bring you down. So we're going to close this show out with why I think a, there's a big silver lining, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, you can't start a housing show without acknowledging rates are crazy high.
This is a weird market, and I think you said it best. You've been saying it for a long time. We've been talking about it for the last 12, 18 months. The housing market is broken.
Yeah, the Fed broke the market. I knew where you were going. I was smiling. The Fed broke the housing market. And folks, it's going to take years to unwind this mess. So don't think this is a month or a quarter. This is going to be a years in the making to unwind.
Very interesting. Years to unwind. Within that, there's opportunity. Stay to the very end. Let's keep the show going. Let's talk about something I have not heard you talk about, or at least I don't remember. Effective mortgage rates. What does that mean? And tell us more about that.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm trying to do on my channel via the daily financial news is basically educate people why the housing market isn't crashing, why the average consumer is in better shape than all the doomers and crash bros think. A couple of weeks ago, I brought to bear a concept that in the US, 88% of our existing debt is fixed and only 12% is variable, which is very, very different from the great financial crisis where like 24 or 25% was variable. We are very unique in the world having fixed rate 30-year debt in housing. It is why the housing market is broken because not only did people buy, but they refied at lifetime low interest rates and they're stuck. They're not going anywhere.
Yep.
Add on top of that something known as an effective interest rate. So, what's an effective interest rate? You take all the houses with mortgages on them, you put them into a big pile, and then you figure out what the average mortgage rate is. In the average mortgage rate, it's just called the effective mortgage rate today, is a shockingly low number. The average or the effective mortgage rate today, Ty, is 3.6%.
Wow.
Now, over time, because we're currently at 7.5, see the beginning of this show, as new mortgages originate, that will pull it up. But we are at a 28-year low of mortgages. And one more bit of advice if we really wanted to do an honest assessment, the effective mortgage rate would be even lower. Why? Because something like 30 or 35% of homes don't have a mortgage. So that would be a big fat zero. So again, the national housing market is in phenomenal shape today. Back now, transactions being done 7.5, 8%, 8.5. That will pull it up, no doubt. But when you look at the market today, 12% of debt is variable. Our effective debt is 3.6% on mortgages, which is the largest pile of debt. There's no wonder that the consumer is in better shape than the doomers keep telling us. So I wanted to bring another economic term to bear, the effective mortgage rate this week.
Interesting. So one more time, it's 3.6.
3.6. Wild.
absolutely wild. And of course, like you said, about, let's call it 30%, a third of homes in the US are free and clear,
which would bring that even lower.
which,
Correct.
yeah, we probably have a number like more like a two if you really said, okay, all housing
All
stock.
housing. Yeah. All housing. And you put a 0 on the ones that have no debt. Yeah. It would be probably high twos. You're right.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to throw a couple wild card questions at the end. So stay to the
Sure.
end. We're going to talk about like housing crash, also kind of where do we go? Are we going to see appreciation positive number this year? Year over year. Let's keep going with the show notes. So commercial real estate in Chicago. I did see a couple sizzle headlines. What did you see this week? Your thoughts on commercial real estate and what they were talking about in Chicago?
Right. So I've been trying to have people understand the disaster that's coming in commercial real estate. Both in office is the most talked about, but it'll come to multifamily as well. There's just bad deals, bad structure, this, that. I've been trying to paint a picture. And the Real Deal, full credit to the Real Deal, somebody I follow on Instagram, they put out a quote from a commercial operator. Here's the quote: every single building in the entire city is worth less than the existing debt, with the maybe an exception of 10 buildings. So I want you to visualize this. Take every commercial building in the state of, or in the city of Chicago, minus 10, and all of their values are less than debt. That means, assuming you have non-recourse debt, you just hand the keys back to the bank, or better yet, throw the keys at the bank saying, good luck, it's now yours. That is a great visualization about the pain that I've been warning about.
It's interesting because I did see the quote also. Yep, I did see that on Real Deal, and I thought that's what you were going to mention. The interesting thing too for folks at home, think about that could be San Francisco, that could be
exactly.
LA, in terms of like the way that Chicago, that skyline, in terms of how much commercial real estate is involved, and they're saying all of it except for not 10%,
10
buildings.
That many. 10 buildings.
10 buildings. Wow.
Yeah, not good. So I thought that quote was very visual. It's easy for people to see. Again, I think the pain is not unique to Chicago, to your point. San Francisco, LA. I mean, I just had that quote. And it was like, when I read it, I actually put my phone down. I'm like, that's exactly what I've been trying to tell people. That's the pain that's coming.
Wow. Okay. Shaking my head, man. Here we go. Let's keep going. So existing home sales, we're going to tie a ribbon on all of this, because I'm going to tie this in. We're going to talk a little bit at the very end about commercial. How does that melt down? How does that play out? We're going to tie in talking about effective mortgage rates, opportunities. Let's keep going. Existing home sales. What did you see this week and your thoughts about existing home sales?
Yeah. So once a month, National Association of Realtors does an amazing job summarizing existing home sales. It came out this week. I think it was 4.07 million. So we're still above the 4 level. I have bad news. If you're in the real estate industry and mortgage industry, I think August and September, the next 2 reports, which will be September 21st and October something, will both be sub 4 million.
Yep.
And tie, it might be like 3.75, 3.8. I mean, we're going substantially lower. These high rates make a difference. Pending sales are down. We have another leg down in transactions on existing home sales.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. The number's got to be sub 4, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9. I don't know, but for sure. And I can just tell you, just being feet on the street, the month of August was so difficult to, just because you had that rate continuing to creep up, and then hit an all-time high, or a recent high. So for 30-year mortgage, it totally makes sense that we would be sub 4. What did you see on new home sales and your thoughts about new home sales?
So kind of the exact opposite, which I've been telling folks, right? If you want to get a mortgage rate sub 6%, go to a new home builder.
Yep.
Something I saw. So new home sales up, builders making a gob of money. Warren Buffett bought home builders. I mean, just home builders are doing great. Did you know? I didn't know this stat. This stat shocked me. 30% of the active single family homes on the market today are new construction.
One more time.
30% of the active single family homes on the market are new construction.
Wow.
There's just no existing inventory. It's crazy.
I literally was choking on it. That's how shocking it was. I was actually choking on it, literally. That's wild to believe. And it's interesting because I drove Southern California, Northern California, and I'm like in Tracy, California on Highway 5, there's a whole nother city, like they call it Tracy Hills, and it's all brand new homes. And you just see that all over the Central Valley, whereas, existing resale inventory is just so sparse. Wow. Yeah. And I also have a good friend that just bought a new home building.
Yeah. So somebody we know did. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, somebody we know.
Except he got a mortgage rate sub 5%. Good for him.
I know. God, I love that. So let's talk about, just on that note too, about new home sales. So like Warren Buffett, like even you could see a lot of the old money, the big money moving toward it. Any just additional thoughts about when you see the Warren Buffett headline, or any just additional thoughts?
Home builders, it won't always be this way, but certainly, for the next 2, 4, 6, 8 quarters, they're in the catbird seat. Their competition is existing home sales. There is none of it. Oh, by the way, they can play with the numbers and move interest rates lower. You can't do that. Well, you usually can't do that in existing. It's just, they're like the fat cat going, they're just in the catbird seat. So it won't always be this way, but it certainly is that way right now.
It makes sense too. And even I want to go back to something that we've talked a little bit about, but even for anybody that's watching the show, if you've watched it, you've heard us talk about the 50-year spreadsheet, and comparing this to 1980s. And I look at like a lot of the properties that I've bought, or rentals and things that are homes that were built in the 70s and 80s, that it was kind of the same thing. It was this weird time, but home builders were booming. If I look at a lot of the markets in, say, Solano County, or even in Contra Costa County, a lot of home building took off like wildfire in the 70s and 80s in these suburbs. So very similar pattern comparing to 50-year. Tell them where they can get that 50-year chart and maybe more information, even watch some of those videos.
Yeah, so I have a chart. I actually put, so valuable, I gave it away for free on my website, onerentalatatime.com. If you're on your computer, it's the lower right box. If you're on your phone, it's the 8th box down. Just needs an email and it'll send you the spreadsheet. All the data is sourced. I list all the source. And the question I would ask you, if you haven't seen it, is look at 1978 total transaction volume and ask yourself how many years it took to get back to that volume. Because after 78, Volcker came in and jacked rates up. And I think most people would be shocked at how long it took to get transactions back to 1978.
Interesting. Also, too, and I want to show note something that, I'm very active in creative finance, and that also a lot of creative financing was all a necessity from that same time period. So it's almost like we're in this cycle where history is repeating itself.
I think it is. It is absolutely. And I told Pace this, I think, a year ago, that you're like this. I think Robert G. Allen wrote a book in the early 80s, Nothing Down for the 80s or something like that. It's out of print. He was the creative financing guy. And again, if you don't know what happened in 81, interest rates went to 18 or 20%. We still did 2 million transactions. Most of those were creative. And it's the perfect, it's like you have an effective interest rate at 3.6%, like we talked earlier, and rates are 9, figure it out. Creative financing is the answer, I think.
I love that. And it's interesting too, that Carleton Sheets, which I know you know of, Carleton Sheets and Robert G. Allen, if I'm not mistaken, Carleton Sheets was a speaker, a facilitator for Robert G. Allen's seminar business. And that's and look what Carleton Sheets took off. And
I remember being 18 or 19 and just infatuated with the Carleton Sheets. I can still picture watching him on TV. Sorry, digress.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think you and I have a lot of fun on this show, but it's interesting too. Historically, I think for people watching this, those were the real OGs that created creative finance. They're the original godfathers of all of that.
Yeah. And again, creative financing has always worked, like some people have proven over and over again, but there are seasons. Like there are the people that are rainmakers that will always do sub two and stuff every year in every market, but that's not most of us. The market that's coming up, I think it's going to be pretty ripe for a lot of folks. So go get educated. There's a right way and a wrong way. I am not your guy. I have never done one. I may never do one. So I am not going to educate you on this. Not my thing.
I love it. Well, folks, if you're an agent, a realtor, I did a 4-week masterclass. So you can email me. We thought we lost it off a cloud server. We did find it. So we are actually reposting it. You can email me, ty@tylg.com, and I'd be happy. And I'm giving it away for free. So there you go. Let's keep the show rolling. So mortgage demand, what did you see this week in your thoughts?
Rates at, 20-year high, mortgage demand at a 28-year low.
Yeah.
Rates matter.
Yep.
Rates matter. That's just the answer. Rates matter.
That's it. Rates, folks. Rates matter. We're in a broken housing market. Sometimes I like to call it weird, but Michael called it right. We are in a broken housing market. Stay for the opportunity. So let's actually, a couple things. So a lot of people would look at this and go, God, this is really negative news, or God, interest rates, but let's talk about where, for you and for the one rental at a time community, where's the opportunity? What do you make of all of this? The housing market's going to be broke for a long, long time to recover and get back to normal. What does that mean to you in the one rental at a time community?
Well, I know a few things in life for certain, and this is one of them. If you are a home seller today, and rates are 8% for investors or whatever they are, you're probably pretty motivated. If you happen to have the skill, knowledge, and experience to understand that if you could look at days on market, say greater than 30 days, motivated sellers won't be able to hide. In 2020 and 2021, maybe the first half of 2022, they could hide. As we go into the winter months, which are the slow season, and rates are at a 20-year plus high, and transactions are at a 28-year low, guess what? It simply becomes easier to find motivated sellers.
Yep.
That's point one. Point two, most people hear me say that, Ty, and they think price, which sure, I have been known to get 30 or 40% off. It does happen. But if you know creative financing, I call it seller financing. Others call it creative financing, sub two, wraps, novations, all the stuff that I know nothing about. You can pick up some deals because you can use terms. And if you can marry price and terms, maybe do a 90% CLTV loan, only bring in 10%, get a below market interest rate. It's just the people with the most tools on their tool belt are going to freaking crush it coming up because everybody is scared. Just like last year, everybody stopped looking. In my market of Fresno, California, that I've talked about and looked at for 20 years, you all got lazy. You let me buy 2 properties out of the MLS for 30% off that I made 40 grand on one and 50 grand on the other. I wasn't even trying very hard and made almost 100 grand. So it's just going to happen again. And I know if people watch this, have their buy box, do the days to the display, they add more tools to their toolbox and they know the flexibility. It is going to be an awesome time. I look forward to it. And I can say that with a lot of certainty.
I 1000% agree. This is the economy to be building new skill sets and adding new tools. Speaking of new tools and new skill sets and opportunities, tell them about, I've been twisting your arm. Hey, you got to do more. You got to do more. You got to offer more. What are you doing with the boot camp? And let's finish on that high note. What are you doing?
Yeah. So this goes back to a meetup I was at in Mountain View, California, where the audience is basically, okay, Michael, I get the buy box, but you need to help me even earlier, right? How do I find a market? How do I do these things? And it just ate at me for a while. So what I wanted to do is get practical experience. I wanted to take a set of people, I chose 50 as the number, through a 10-week journey where I'm learning along with helping. And after lots of consternation and making sure it was good enough for me and exceeds value for everyone, we agreed to do it. It's now launched. You can now pick it up for $1,000. It's $997. Not only do you get the 10 weeks, 2 hours at a time, you get everything else I've already created, which is like $700 or $800 in value. You're going to get basically one-on-one coaching in a group because every meeting will have a topic, which I'm imagining will be 20 to 30 minutes, and then there'll be 90 minutes of questions. So, if you're coming to that session and you don't need that topic, but you have a question, I will be there for you. My intention is to do this one time.
Yep.
Because I value my time. I've worked so hard. I don't have to do this, but it's enough of a yank that I feel like I have to. So my goal is to record all of these and then package it up and say, hey, buy a 10-week education for, I don't know, $300. But if you're going to get my live Q&A and all of that direct, it's going to be $1,000. It's already launched. 20 people have signed up already. There's only 30 spots left. I want this to exceed value. So if you do sign up, not only am I going to unlock all the free stuff, I'm going to send you 5 questions that I want you to answer. And of course, as I like to exceed expectations, we're going to do what I call a 0-day event. So it's not one of the 10, probably the Friday of Labor Day, like the week after Labor Day, just to get to meet each other and level set and get the first couple of meetings scheduled. So I am looking forward to exceeding expectations. If we get 50 people, great. If we get 31, great. It's going to happen no matter what at this point. And all I got to say is, you were right. You were right. This is something I had to do. It's the right thing to do. I was fighting it because I didn't feel like scheduling 10 weeks out, but you were right. You were right.
I love the fact that you're doing this. And I would say for anybody, especially the One Rental at a Time community, if you're already a part of the course, if you're already a part of the community, upgrade, get the add-on, buy the add-on.
This is just who I am, right? So if you are a member, which the max you would have paid was $400, I actually let you upgrade for $500. So you actually save $100 if you're already a member. And some of you only paid $200. So you save a lot of money. Just if you've already trust me, it's only a $500 upgrade.
Get with Michael, get in this live class. And just so I'm really clear, in this class, they're going to be able to raise their hand, ask questions as you'll do a topic, then like topic summary at the very end. Then let's open it up for questions.
Absolutely. Yep.
15, 20 minutes of Q&A or whatever.
Again, it'll go as long as it has to go. I'm going to max it out at 2 hours. I'm thinking each topic will be 30 minutes, and then there could be up to 90 minutes of questions. Now, some of those questions will be on the topic. That's the goal.
Yep.
But I'm willing to take any question that comes. If you're spending time with me, I'm trying to exceed value in everything I do. So if you buy it, watch out for those 5 questions because I will read them and it will help me prepare the syllabus.
I love it. I love it. So folks, this is an opportunity for you to interact with Michael, for you to do basically live coaching because he doesn't really do a live coaching. He has a lot of free content. He has the paid content. This will actually be a unique situation where you'll literally go from 0 through 0, call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through the end of the entire course, but be able to interact and ask lots of questions, as well as just whatever you're up to, whatever those things that you need help with the most. This is your opportunity. And Michael, they can go to the website. Is it also going to be in the show notes
I can put it in the show notes. Absolutely. One rental at a time. It's the 10-week journey. That's what it's called. There's a little picture of me, a cartoon of me saying, come on, let's go. But yeah, it's there. I'll give you the link. You can put it in the show notes. But the last thing I want to say, I want to be clear. Do not buy this if you have to buy it on a credit card. If you're going to pay interest on this $1,000, don't buy it. stack your money, save your money. There'll be a different way to go. If you're cranking, rocking and rolling, have a buy box, writing offers, doing deals, you don't need this. This is for the people that feel stuck. This is for the people that want a little bit of accountability because I'm going to manage you like a sales rep. And you're kind of at the beginning. That's who this is for. And again, the cap is 50 people. We'll see what happens.
Very well defined. So well defined. I love that you defined it that way. But also, I would say if you're cranking, you probably want more faster. And this is a great way for you to fast track and buy the blueprint or buy the treasure map, if you will, or get somebody to help you navigate, a guide who's already been up to the top of the mountain several times back and forth and knows the pathways and the shortcuts and all the hacks. So if you're cranking, I think you should also consider doing it, because I think it would be a great investment into yourself. So Michael, what a great show today. I really enjoyed our time. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Bye.